Doomsday 3.
No, we had Doomsday 1.
No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, both in this country and of course.
Praying for safety and
Got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass to the ball. You better get to the ball.
I just gotta say, when it comes to former Dallas,
Different.
for sure, and they would have thrown it off because this guy gets off you.
And I go to bed every night like. Gee, man, I promise you that. We got a Man, what is up, Cowboys Nation? Boy, Mike Tag here, Kelly K9. It is Wednesday. It is another week closer to the season. It's another time we're trying to figure out what the hell to talk about, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna think of some stuff and see if we can get you guys going, get you guys going in the chat. Before we get rolling, make sure as you guys are coming in, hit that subscribe, like, share, all that kind of good stuff. Get that out of the way, all the pleasantries. But Kelly, what's going on, man? I we talked a little bit about that hat. You gotta tell the people about it, man. That thing's just tight.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's new Dallas Cowboys hat. It says Lubbock on the front of it. Got the state of Texas. Got the little Cowboys logo on the side. I seen that on Fanatics, and obviously I had to go cop that. So get to represent the old hometown and the Dallas Cowboys at the same time. So Dallas Cowboys continue to take my money. I know people say stop giving Jerry money. Just shut up. I'm never gonna stop giving Jerry money. If I see cool looking Cowboys swag, I'm gonna buy it. So.
He gets money, man. He gonna get our money one way.
Yeah, like my money ain't gonna hurt Jerry. If I stop giving him money, it ain't gonna hurt him.
No, ain't gonna make a damn bit of difference. But man, that's
not
awesome.
even a little.
I like need to get something for me like that. But it's gotta be like, I don't know, 305 with the Dallas Cowboy, star or something like that. I know that. I was actually surprised that I seen something like that when I seen it. Just to have it, have that pop up like that, and I seen it on there, and I said, oh snap! At first. Sometimes you got to be wary because sometimes some of those things you see are not legit, you know what I mean? But then I seen it was from Fanatics. I was like, pulling the trigger. So well, I can vouch for that. Now, I don't know if you do it, but I've been getting sucked into TikTok shop. And
yeah.
I got a so I was joking with my wife because I showed my Dez Bryant jersey bobblehead draft day one. I also got this old school Troy Aikman figure, and I had it when I was a kid. And my wife's like, "What do you keep getting shit for?" I was like, "I think when you get older, you buy the stuff that you had as a kid. You kind of like you got rid of it, and then you buy it back like later in life." Because now I seem to find myself going on, eBay or whatever, and buying all the stuff that I used to have. So I don't know, but TikTok shop. I bought a few items, and I just got this frame because Dwight Gooden was my favorite player growing up as a pitcher for the Mets, and I got through the years I got every Topps card of his signed with the Mets. So like from his rookie year all the way till his last year with the Mets. And so I was going to I had this frame, and I was going to put each picture in there, and have another room where I had some other stuff, and I was going to put it in there. I got the frame. I thought it was a deal for $40. Now I see why it's $40. It's not the highest quality. It could be effective, but it's not like, it's the quality is questionable. It's definitely so.
Yeah, that's the thing, man, is that you gotta. So the one thing that I figured out for anybody that wants to do any shopping on is I always go to the reviews, and I go to the reviews, and if there's not more than like 500 reviews on it, I'm usually not going to pull the trigger. But like a lot of the things on TikTok shop, you can see if it's a 4+ review, if it's got over a 4+ rating, and then there's over 1,000 reviews, I usually go ahead and pull the trigger. I read the reviews though, and I read both the good, then I go to the bottom of the bottom. So I read the 5-star reviews and I read the 1 stars and try to kind of weigh out, the pros and cons. Like, all right, there's people saying this or whatever. But that saved me in a lot of things though, because I bought some clothes, I bought some shirts, tank tops for the TikTok shop. And the crazy thing is about China, if anybody knows about the Chinese people, their XXL is not our XXL in America. So I'll just tell you that right now. So I've read the reviews and they're like, hey, size up on this. And that saved me several times on several purchases because the one time I bought something that was XX, that shit came and it looked like Ezekiel Elliott's shirt that he wore on draft night. Belly hanging out on that motherfucker. I said, this ain't no goddamn XXL, man. There ain't no damn way. So
no, it's good to know. And I mean, look, I've gotten some value on there too, so I'm not hating on it. It's but I've gotten a few things. Some of it's been good, some of it's been okay and great, but it's fine. But what is fine is our third annual tailgate party, and it's getting closer and closer. Just want to show some love out to you guys, and I know we get new subscribers and new people in the channel. You kind of see we're jazzing things up a little bit. We're putting the comments out there so all you guys can see every comment. So all you guys have been watching the show and you're like, man, I keep hearing all the hype about these comments. Now you guys can see it, and hopefully that entices you to be part of it and get over to the YouTube channel and watch from there. But we got our tailgate party. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got some donations, so definitely appreciate it. Cuts has got the paddle because we're gonna spank that ass. So that's the motto, and that's the theme of this tailgate party this year. We had the bottle opener last time. We're gonna crack them if you got them, like Cowboys fan. Pay homage to them. But we're gonna whoop some ass and paddle that ass, and it's gonna be Packers ass. So definitely check out the tailgate, man. You got to be hyped for it, man. We're getting in early, right, Kelly? We're getting in early, a day early. Gotta get this
coming in. Coming in on a Friday, man, to get this thing going. We're coming in on a Friday because this is the third tailgate, so we got to make sure that it goes down and this thing goes bigger than it was last year, bigger than it was. But that's the goal, is to improve it and get it bigger every single year. But real quick, before we get too far into things, I saw something in the chat that I saw my brother-in-law, Winston Harwood. I just want to give a quick shout out, not just to him, man, but for anybody that knows, man, I got family in Texas. Winston and my sister Lexi actually live in Kerrville, Texas, which everybody knows was just affected by those devastating floods that happened down there. And shout out to my brother-in-law, man. He's been down there doing some community outreach with the community, going and praying with some of the families and the victims. He was actually there was like a really cool video that CBS News put out, and he was in it praying with some of the families and stuff. So just real quick, shout out to him and to everybody down there. Obviously, they were not directly affected in terms of loss of property or life or injury like that, but there were so many people that were, man. So just thoughts and prayers to all those people down there in that area of Texas that were affected by those floods. It was just an absolutely heartbreaking story to see all the devastation, the people missing, looking for their families, and then that camp of young girls that lost their lives and stuff. It just very, very sad and tragic. So thoughts and prayers to all those people down there, and shout out to my brother-in-law for being a part of that effort to kind of rebuild that community and help them get back on their feet. So
yeah, no, definitely, Winston, much love and appreciate. And that's just, when you see things like that, it is just absolutely devastating. And then it just piles on the pain when it's kids, you know what I mean? Because, we're all parents and like you're not supposed to outlive your kids. And when you see things like that happen, I don't know how I could ever recover. I mean, I get emotional just thinking about it because I just don't know how I could ever recover. And I feel for these families, and it's just, it's devastating, absolutely devastating. So yeah, just praying they can get everything back, the best they can, except be back to normal, but the best.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, so we got the tailgate, we got that rolling. And, one thing that we were going to talk about is not to shift gears that way, so I apologize, but to talk about this NFL season and, looking at this Cowboys team and looking at where they're at and what they added. It's, can this team get back to run the East? And if the first step is winning a division, right? Yeah, you can get on a wild card, but let's just be honest. The Cowboys, they need a home game, and they need all the good wishes and the benefit that they can get, because playoff success hasn't been there for them in recent history for a long time. So looking at what they did, I want to kind of break down each team, and we're going to need your guys' help in the chat. And first, we want to talk about the bottom, Kelly. We want to, All right, let's talk about the worst, and then we'll save it for the best. And do you think the Cowboys have eclipsed or can jump over that team? The one team that they're already ahead of is the Giants. I don't know how much needs to be said about it. They got Russell Wilson. They drafted Jackson Dart. They got Malik Neighbors, who, I mean, you got people out there, I don't know if they're drinking, I don't know what they're drinking, but they got Malik Neighbors is like, he's the best receiver in the division, better than CD. I don't buy it. I think he's a great receiver, but I'm not putting him to that level yet. I got to see it happen over time. But what is your thoughts on the Giants? I guess the most important thing is, do you think the Giants can steal and win a game against the Cowboys this year?
I don't. No. I still think the Giants are the fourth best team in the NFC East right now. They've made some improvements and they're getting there, but I still think they're probably another year, 2 years away from actually being a team that I'm going to be at all worried about, because I still don't think that they got a quarterback there. Russell Wilson, doesn't move the needle for me. Jackson Dart was one of the quarterbacks that was on my radar in terms of the draft. I actually kind of like him.
Well, I want to ask you, because he was the hot name, right? He was the guy that climbed. Do you think there's any chance Jackson Dart could have that kind of impact like a Jaden, Daniels, like a Knicks, like one of these quarterbacks that just come out of nowhere and then they end up doing something special?
I don't think this year that's going to happen. I think Jackson Dart might actually end up seeing the field this year, though, just because I think that Russell Wilson is just.
I do too.
He's just not great, man, and I don't see the Giants being a situation that's going to put him in this. All of a sudden Russell Wilson turns things around. I mean, he had pretty good offensive talent in Pittsburgh and couldn't do anything with that. I mean, he had our receiver now, George Pickens, on that roster, and it couldn't really do a lot. And I thought Pittsburgh was not necessarily lacking offensive talent last year. I just didn't think that the quarterback position was great. And I mean, ultimately, Russell Wilson, I believe, they got benched for Justin Fields, if I remember right. I think through it before the season was over, but he didn't have the greatest of seasons. Don't see that changing here. So Jackson Dart could see the field this year, but I think he's a guy that is probably not an instant success in the NFL. I think it's going to be maybe year 2 that you start maybe seeing some things out of him. But I mean, he's not a guy that I would sleep on. I mean, I know he's with the Giants, and that organization has been a while since they've been anything in terms of having success at that quarterback position. But I mean, he was a guy that I liked in the draft. I thought that he had some potential to be a starting NFL caliber quarterback. I just don't know that he's going to be ready for that this year.
No, I agree. And I don't know if you're trying to rip our hearts out right now, Kelly, with what you got in the background, if you're just trying to screw with us. But you got San Francisco and Dallas. It looks like maybe I don't know. They're up 14.
I didn't listen. I didn't want to distract anybody by putting it on. But what I thought, it's going to be cool. I just threw on Dallas Cowboys highlights. There's a bunch of them, and I put play all. So I'm not really sure what game is going on right now. It's going to play a bunch of different highlights. I just figured it would go with the flow of the show.
Trying to really, really mess with us. So all right, no worries. We'll let it roll. Maybe
I believe this is 2016 highlights. I actually think it's 2016.
Where Romo got hurt. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
it might be. I think this is 2016 highlights is what it is. So
we'll let it go.
We had a pretty good year that year.
All right, so we know the Cowboys finished third, so we'll save that for later. But let's talk about the Commanders. And you were bullish on the Commanders. You're always going to say, Mike, I told you so, because I predicted it and you predicted it. So you get your chance to, you got the flowers. I don't believe in them. Didn't believe in them last year. I think everything that went right for them.
Yeah.
If you look at the rankings, which I know it's all for show and it's all for clickbait. They have Jaden Daniels, the last rankings, QB rankings that they did on ESPN. Jaden Daniels, number 5 overall in the NFL. That would make him number 1 in the NFC quarterback, which I don't believe that. I don't think I'd put him in the top 5 right now. I got to see more than 1 year. But do you think there's enough? You got Terry McLaurin. Now you're getting now you got some issues. His contract he's not happy with. He said if things don't get better, he may not be showing up. So you're starting to get some, a little bit of drama in there, which never hurts. But what's your thoughts on the Commanders and you guys in the chat? I mean, this team did go to the NFC Championship, and so that's 2 teams in the East that went, that finished in the final 2 in the NFC. So what's your thoughts on the Commanders, and where do you think they can fit? Do you think the Cowboys can jump them?
I don't think so. I almost said I don't think so when it comes to the Cowboys. No, I absolutely think so. I think with a healthy Dak Prescott, and I think with an improved offensive roster, which I do think this offensive roster got better, even though I still questions at the running back, I still think this roster ultimately got better. Adding to the offensive line and Booker, that piece is going to help out. Adding George Pickens, that's going to help immensely in the pass game. I think all of that bodes well for Dallas offensively. I mean, Dallas was a play away from beating Washington and sweeping them last year. They beat them with Cooper Rush, almost beat them. That second game was Trey Lance. Am I correct in that?
Yeah,
Trey Lance started that last game. So Trey Lance almost beat Washington. So we almost swept them with our 3rd string quarterback playing in that game. So am I worried about Washington? No. And I agree with you last year. Look, the reason why I was bullish on Washington winning, I think I said 10 games is what I said with Washington. The reason why was because I just thought that the energy that Quinn brought into the building was kind of going to be the difference. They had a young rookie quarterback, just a lot of kind of things that I thought were going to bode well for them. Year 2, no, I think they're going to have a fall off. I think they finished 3rd in the division. The reason why I think that, 1, I think the Cowboys got the better roster. 2, I understand that Cowboys got a new head coach, but I feel ultimately that our staff, top to bottom, is going to be better than the Washington Commanders. And 3, I think that you're right. I think a lot of things went Washington's way. I mean, you can look at a lot of different games. That Hail Mary that won them a game at the end. What was that game that they played? Was it against the Bears? Yeah, the Bears that they played where that Hail Mary guy tips it right in his hand. I mean, that's one win you take away. I mean, that was kind of a fluke win. There was just a lot of things that, like you said, the ball bounced their way. They had a lot of good luck. Don't think that's going to happen this year. I think that you're going to see a drop-off from Washington. I still have them being as a competitive team. I don't think that they're going to be a bad team. In fact, I could see Washington actually possibly, squeaking in maybe to that last wild card spot. I could see them maybe at 9 wins, 8 or 9 wins, and possibly sneaking into the playoffs. I don't think that they're going to, overcome the Dallas Cowboys. I think I picked us to sweep Washington. I think we sweep Washington this year. I don't think that we lose to them, which is kind of why I'm bullish on the Cowboys competing for the division, because I think we split with the Eagles. I think we sweep Washington and sweep New York. You sweep Washington and New York, that's 4 wins right there. Split with the Eagles, that's 5. Are we going to be able to rummage up another 5-6 wins throughout the season? I think so. So that's why I'm really high on the Cowboys this year. I know we got a tough schedule. I know there's a lot of things people are, pointing to that said that could do, this or that. But I'm just not buying in on Washington this year. I think that this year is the year that they kind of have a little bit of a fall off and come back to earth. I'm 100% in agreement with you on that. So
no, I agree with you. So we agree. Now you get, it pains everyone to kind of say it. You gotta. The East runs through Philadelphia, the defending Super Bowl champions. You got to give them their due. That's just the way it is. And I like it, but we gotta accept it until kickoff, right? Until the season starts, they're the champs from like they say we do. But going into it, have the Cowboys to overtake the Philadelphia Eagles and get back to the top spot in the NFC East? And boy, am I frozen or is Kelly frozen?
Nah, it was me. It was me. It was me. I could hear your voice chopping up, and I'm like, "That's me. That's me." What I said was, have the Cowboys done? I'm taking it you were saying, have the Cowboys done enough to close the gap on Philly, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
They said it's me.
They said you were frozen. Okay. Well, I didn't know if it was me or it was you, but I thought I heard what you were saying. But it's fine. We're rolling, baby. We're rolling. So here's the thing. I really do think that the Cowboys can win the NFC East. I know that's crazy, man, coming from somebody that was so kind of down about things earlier in the year, and I was just really pissed off, and I was like, this and that and that. But listen, strengthening the offensive line in Booker, bringing in Riley is the offensive. Listen, I think that's one of the most underrated moves this year. I'm going to continue to say that. The addition of Connor Riley as the offensive line coach, I think is going to be huge for this Dallas Cowboys team. Not only the development of Cooper Beebe, who gets his old offensive line coach back from college. You got Tyron Smith working directly with Tyler Guyton. I mean, what better mentor can you have than arguably, one of the, I'd say, top 5 greatest offensive linemen that the Cowboys have had? I think you'd put Tyron Smith in that category. I mean, the dude was an absolute monster when he played. And to have him working with, Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, we already know what he's going to be. I think Terrence Steele is finally healthy, coming back from that injury that he kind of suffered with, and I think he's going to be better. Look, I think if that offensive line makes that jump, I really do. I think that this Cowboys team can win the NFC East. You combine that with the fact that the Eagles, they got a hard schedule. They got a difficult schedule. You combine that with the fact that you also have the Eagles that had everything bounce their way last year in terms of injuries. Not a lot of injuries. Listen, this NFL, it's hard. And what is it? It's a game of attrition. And a lot of these times you have these teams that, you can get through a season pretty much completely unscathed like the Philadelphia Eagles did. That doesn't mean it's going to happen this year. You know what I'm saying? All it takes is 1 or 2 injuries to have that start going down. Listen, Saquon Barkley finished one of only a few seasons that he's ever had in the NFL without being injured. He got a ton of carries last year. They put a lot of weight on Saquon Barkley's shoulders. Now, he's a still fairly young running back, but listen, the trend in the NFL is not very many running backs are able to carry that kind of load without seeing a bit of a drop off the next year, right? He had a great season last year. Can Saquon duplicate that? I don't know. I don't really think so. The only guy that has proven that trend wrong, honestly, has been Derrick Henry. And do I think that Saquon Barkley has had enough seasons under his belt to prove that he's in the same ilk as a guy like, Derrick Henry? No, he hasn't for me. So you've got that going. You've got the fact that they're the defending champs. It is hard to repeat in the NFL. Everybody's gunning for you. You got that target on your back now. So there's just all those things combined where I could see the Eagles slip up into a few games, whereas the Cowboys, I feel like, are going to be a lot better. They're coming back from a lot of injuries and going to be getting some guys back and that they didn't have last year. And I think all of that just bodes well. And I really do love the energy that Schottenheimer is bringing to this team. So I just think all of that combined just bodes well for the Cowboys to have a bounce-back season. Dak Prescott coming back, I think he's going to be on an offensive tear. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder and ready to prove some people wrong. And, we'll just, I'm ready to throw it all in the ring, though, man, and get this thing going on September 4th where we play Philly Thursday night and hopefully be the spoilers to their banner celebration.
I mean, that would be just the best way to start off the season. But let's look at the Eagles because we talk so much about the Cowboys, right? So, I mean, we've beaten that horse down. We talked about the defense. We've talked about the offense. We talked about where there's concern, where we think there's strengths. Look, I mean, if you gotta, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. So they are the man right now. And it all starts at the quarterback. It all starts at the quarterback position. And Jalen Hurts, he's kind of like he's Philly's version of Dak Prescott. I mean, there's people that love him. There's people that hate him. There's people that are very critical of him. There's people. I mean, the coach came out and defended him because he's getting Jalen Hurts is getting a lot of grief, saying that basically the team carries him. He's kind of along for the ride. He's not a franchise quarterback. He got put, I think, 9th in one of the top 10 quarterback list that came out, I think, by executives. He came in at 9. So, I mean, he's not getting, if you want to call it respect, or maybe that's all accurate stuff. But looking at Jalen Hurts, what is your overall impression of him? And if Saquon Barkley were to go down for any period of time, do you have belief that Jalen Hurts can carry the load and throw the ball 50 times a game and deliver victories?
No, I don't, man. I think, I said it earlier in the week. I threw out a tweet that I think Jalen Hurts is a mobile version of Joe Flacco. He's a quarterback who can make some throws. A lot of them are just kind of Hail Mary throws that he throws up in the air. To A.J. Brown is an incredible receiver who comes down with a lot of those throws, 50-50 balls. But listen, Jalen Hurts' best season, and I put this out today, man, and a little bit of hate, whatever, what for that from some Eagles fans, obviously. But listen, I was looking through it, and I think it was 15 quarterbacks, active NFL quarterbacks, that have played at least 4 games or 4 seasons or more, have better passing seasons than Jalen Hurts has had during his 4 years. I mean, his best season was like 3,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. I'm sorry, that's not blowing anybody away, man. And I'm talking about every active quarterback that has started 4 seasons or more has had a better season than that in terms of the 23 touchdowns. Now people will they'll point to the, hey, well, that year he also had 15 rushing touchdowns to go along with those 18 passing touches. 11 of those 15 rushing touchdowns were tush pushes. 11, okay? So
rushing touchdowns are tush
and that's the thing. He's the tush push merchant, and that's fine. But listen, if Philadelphia fans seem to think that, when you say that he's being carried, that means that's something bad. Listen, it's a good thing. Your GM has built an incredible team around Jalen Hurts. But if Jalen Hurts had to carry this team on his back, he's not going to do it. He's not one of the elite quarterbacks. I stand by that. He is not elite. Period. Now, listen, people are going to point to the Super Bowl and say, hey, you know what? He had a great game in the Super Bowl MVP. Listen, his defense didn't give up a point in the first half. I mean, Listen, it's not hard to ball like that when your defense is getting you the ball back and they're not allowing the offense on the other side to do anything. So, he did have a good game in the Super Bowl. And look, that's what counts. It's going to go down. Philly won the Super Bowl. Can't take that away from him. But listen, he passed for 18 touchdowns last year. That's like 1 touchdown per game. And I know what the theory is. Listen, because I'm right there. If Dak Prescott only passed for 18 touchdowns and we won all those games with, so I would be ecstatic. But that's not an elite quarterback. That's not a quarterback. If you put, and I stand by this, if you put I could name 15 quarterbacks that I believe you could put on that Eagles team, they still would have won the Super Bowl last year. I think Dak Prescott would have won a Super Bowl with them. I mean, I think, Justin Herbert. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that would have won the Super Bowl with that team because the Eagles have that good of a roster. And it's not a diss on Jalen Hurts. He's just a mediocre quarterback. I mean, Philly wants to defend him to the death. I get it. That's their guy, but it's not going to change facts. He's a mediocre quarterback.
Well, look at the Super Bowl run in the playoffs. This is his stat line. 131 yards in the first game passing, 128 yards in the second game passing against the Rams, 246 against Washington, and 221 against Kansas City. He has 1 300-yard game in the playoffs, and that was against the Chiefs, the first Super Bowl that they lost, right? So they were passing the ball a lot. But he has 4 playoff games under 200 yards passing. And I guess what I'm saying, I'm not knocking them, but what I'm saying, I'm trying to validate your point, is they have a very well-balanced team. The team is not built around Jalen Hurts. He's not asked to do anything. He's just asked not to mess it up.
And not to mess it up.
He didn't do it. He didn't mess it up. I mean, and
don't mess it up.
That about Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer, they said, don't screw it up. Don't give the defense, don't give the opposing defense points, and we're going to win because we're not going to give up many points on defense. And you got Jamal Lewis and you got the guys there that can run the ball. So that's what they did, and that's how they got it done. And I don't know why Philly fans would get so upset about it. I mean, it's a compliment.
I know why, because I mean they want to have that over the Cowboys and say, hey, Hurts is a better quarterback than Dak. When it's just not true. Hurts is a better runner of the football, but Dak clears him in passing the football. I mean, 1,000,000 times over. I'm sorry, he does. Now, obviously, Dak has had his moments and had his problems in the playoffs. We all understand that. But listen, that's playoff wins is a team. That's a team stat. That's not a quarterback stat. That's a team stat. Because if you play well in the playoffs and your defense plays like shit, that is what it is. But I'm just saying, Hurts is just he's an average, and he's an average quarterback. Not a bad quarterback. He's average. And that's not a bad thing, because that just means the Eagles got an elite team around him. Number 1 defense, number 1 offensive line, 2 elite wide receivers, best running back in the game. I mean, I haven't seen a guy get carried like that in a very long time. But, hey, you know what? Good for Jalen Hurts, man. I mean, good for him. He won a Super Bowl and ended up with the Super Bowl MVP. Nobody could take that from him. But it doesn't change the fact that he's not putting up numbers that in the end, when he retires, do I think Jalen Hurts is going to go in the Hall of Fame? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I don't think I think he's borderline top 10.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I'm trying to, I just want to do a comparison just to kind of give an idea. So looking at Dak in the play, and I think it just validates a lot of your points of Dak in the playoffs. His best games, I mean, a lot of his best games, the ones that they won, he didn't throw for a ton of yards. He didn't have to, carry the team. It was balance, and that's when they won. When they beat Seattle, 226 yards passing. When they beat Tampa, it was 305 yards passing, but it was only 25 completions. It was big plays that we made on them. But you look at the losses, 403 yards passing, 60 attempts, 43 attempts, 40 attempts. When you're asking your quarterback, I mean, they're asked to do 2 different things. So it's not a fair comparison, because with Dallas, they've had a lack of a running game in the playoffs. That's been probably their Achilles heel, is no balance. So you are putting it on the quarterback. And when you ask a quarterback to throw the ball 50 times, I mean, it's a law of averages. How many quarterbacks are going to have 50 attempts and no picks and no mistakes?
Right.
Flawless. Very rarely does that happen. So I think, like you said, it's kind of a compliment to the Eagles organization more than anyone, of putting a team together with a defense, with a running game, to where they're just not asking they know what their quarterback's limitations are. They know what he's good at. They know what his strengths are, and they stay away from the weakness. And his weakness is asking him to throw the ball, 50 times a game. It's not a recipe for success for him.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the games last year that they played, again, there's no other way to put it other than, like you said, Hurts is just asked not to lose the game. You know what I mean? He's not asked to win the game. They're not putting that on him. There's a reason why the Eagles went out and got Saquon Barkley. They realized, hey, we got a great defense. We got the best O-line in the NFL, but we've got a quarterback that we cannot put this game on him. We need to be able to put the game on the shoulders of a running back. And with Miles Sanders, they couldn't do it. They said, you know what? He's not good enough. He's not moving the needle. We got to go out and get a guy. And they went out and got Saquon Barkley. And kudos to them, unlike the Cowboys, for recognizing that a great running attack and a great running back can really change the outlook of a team, because it vaulted them to a Super Bowl. And, and they recognized that. Their ownership recognized that, hey, we need an elite running back to get this thing done. And it benefited Jalen Hurts because he doesn't have to pass the ball a lot. You know what I mean? 18 passing touchdowns. Again, that is, I believe that's the lowest touchdown number in the league last year in terms of touchdowns. I think maybe only Caleb Williams threw for less. So, I mean, it's just.
Kelly, he had 2 games back to back that they won. He threw for 108 yards in one game and 118 in the other.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen without an elite.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't happen without an elite roster. That does not happen without an elite roster. That's, that is reminiscent of who was that quote? Rex Grossman for the Bears. Yeah. That's Rex. Those are Rex Grossman numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are Rex Grossman numbers. And that's, that's Jalen Hurts, man. And again, don't hate me. I'm just the messenger. I know Eagles fans get so furious about that because they want that recognition. They want to say he's better than Dak Prescott. Say he's better, but I can't, man. Looks like if Dak Prescott was on the Eagles team, I think he'd win. Goddamn, I think Uncle Rico could be on the Eagles as the quarterback, and I think they'd win that Super Bowl. They didn't win the Super Bowl because of Jalen Hurts. They didn't win all those games because of Jalen Hurts. They won that off their defense. They won that off the fact that they have the best roster complete top to bottom in the NFL. That's why they won it. It's not because of Jalen Hurts, but hey, it is what it is. What it is. You know what I mean? Let them be mad about it. It's just, numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, no, it's a team game, and I apologize if I think I'm looking at my thing and I might be having some issues. We get very bad thunderstorms the last few nights, so we're without. My neighbors, thankfully, wasn't me, but friends of ours who live across the street were without power for a while, so there could be something screwing up with my internet. So if I am kind of shaky, I apologize. Look. The quarterbacks, and you feel what's your confidence level of the Cowboys being able to take the NFC East? If you were going to do a percentage, where would you kind of put that at?
Right now, I'm going to say I'm probably about 50% on that. I'm about 50%, 50-50. I think it could go either way. I think if the Eagles have another season like last year in terms of how healthy they stay, they stay healthy. Saquon plays all 17 games. They don't have any of their key players go down with injuries. Then I think the Eagles, they should, with that roster, they should win the NFC East. They really should. They really didn't lose a lot last year. I mean, yeah, they lost a little bit, but they still got a very talented roster. They don't really have much of an excuse not to win. In my opinion, if the Eagles don't win the NFC East, then I mean, it's probably going to be looked at as a little bit of a choke job. But I think that, like I said, there's a lot of those things that are going to factor in, whether it's the health and all those other things. So it's kind of a coin flip right now. So I'm probably about 50% on that.
Yeah, no, I think Doug's at 60-40. I'm about 50-50 right now. I got to see it. I mean, I don't want to be one of those fans that got to see it to believe it, but I think this offense can be special. They did a stat because people are talking about our offense. The last years, we are far and above. They did points scored over the last 5 years offenses, and it wasn't even really that close where Dallas was so far ahead. And we've got, when Dak is healthy, we put up points, and now you're going to get him. Now you're going to get him with Pickens, and you're going to get and a lot of people go back to Cooper and CD, and I think that was a good tandem. But you got to remember, you had CD kind of he wasn't at the level he's at now, and I think Pickens being younger, I don't think weapons as he on when you throw in Ferguson, you throw in Turpin. We'll see what happens with Mingo and Tolbert, but the depth of the weapons outside the running game, which we can get into, I don't think Dak has had as good a complementary set of weapons as he ever had.
I mean, this is right now with having Pickens and having CeeDee Lamb. That's gonna be the best wide receiver group that he's ever had for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and fix something. I think I'm fucking up. I think I'm messing up, Kelly.
I was gonna say you're kind of cutting in and out a little bit. I was just about to say that.
I'm having issues with the internet.
It's usually my internet that's causing the
issues. And I'm good, but I'm seeing my thing going down. So I've been gone. So I don't know if I usually reset it before we get on the show, and I went out to dinner right from the airport and all of that. So I'm trying to see if I can make a quick adjustment. Hang tight. If not, what I might do is I might come out and come back in. You mind if I come out, you handle it solo, and I'll come right back?
Yeah, sure. I can run this thing here for a second. Yeah. Right, guys. Well, we got Mike out of here for a second, so we could just watch a little bit of Dallas Cowboys highlights right behind me from the 2016 year. No, I'm just joking. I don't know what year that is, 2016 or not. But you listen, usually it's Mike that's having the internet problems, so let's just get a little for me not having the internet problems. But sure, Mike will get right back on here. But look, man, when it comes to the confidence level, and when it comes to Dallas and Philly, I think it's a battle between Dallas and Philly, like it has been for the past several years. Philadelphia, there hasn't been a repeat division winner for a pretty long time. So that kind of we got going for us, for the Cowboys, because there hasn't been a repeat division winner. And I believe, I want to say it's closing in on 20 years, man, which just seems kind of crazy that it's been that long. But listen, this NFC East division has been pretty competitive, man, and has been pretty back and forth. But I mean, for the last, several years, it's been between, the Cowboys and the Eagles. So that's kind of still where it stands right now. But I guess we'll see if that trend continues this year. I don't really see why it wouldn't, though, because like me and Mike had talked about, not really too bullish on Washington right now. Not too bullish on the New York Giants right now. Obviously, they're going to be the Giants. So that's just kind of where it stands. But listen, if this offense can get it together, and if they can put things together in training camp and kind of get all on the same page and start out, the season, hot, in sync, which, you got to hope that, Dak Prescott had an interview not that long ago, where they're asking him about George Pickens and kind of where, how long it was going to take to get on the same page with George Pickens. They're just like, not long, not long. And he said, because, Dak Prescott recognizes what kind of receiver Pickens is. Pickens is the kind of receiver, kind of like the same way as A.J. Brown, where Hurts is able to just kind of throw it up and trust that he's going to go up and get it. He's one of those guys that are going to come out and get those 50-50 balls. And even when it looks like he's not open, he's open because he can jump over them receivers. He can make those acrobatic one-handed sideline grabs. You can throw that ball up there and trust that he's going to go get it because, 90% of the time he is going to get it. So I think that that's a good thing for Dak Prescott to have another receiver that he trusts that much. Just like, how he trusts, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's able to trust him, and CeeDee Lamb can work from the inside out. And so now you've got George Pickens and a guy that really is going to just take that offense up to the next level. So hearing Dak Prescott have that kind of trust already in a guy like George Pickens and knowing that that's the kind of receiver he is, I think that bodes well for these guys getting on the same page very quick. Now, what I would like to see is Dak and Pickens playing in the preseason. I think that you got to get that chemistry going. I don't think you wait to the regular season to get that going. I think you start to build that in the preseason so that when week 1 hits, this train's already rolling.
I agree with you, Kelly. I don't know if you're talking about preseason.
I'm talking about preseason.
Yeah, I mean, do you think this team needs those preseason reps? Is that overrated? I mean, Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think so.
I can't wait.
I don't think it's overrated at all. In fact, I think it's been a mistake the past several years that they haven't played some of these guys in the preseason because, just look at the past, 2 years, 3 years that they haven't done it. It always seems like it takes, 2 to 3 weeks to really kind of get this team going. And then you start saying, hey, you know what? Look, the run game improved. Hey, look, the pass game improved. Look, they're getting Cooks involved more. And it's like, well, these guys aren't getting the real game timing because, the training camp can only do so much for you, man. You got to throw the pads on. You got to go full speed. You got to go up against live defenses. And even when they have these training camps that are, where they have trainings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when they have those coming, those still aren't the same. You know what I mean? It's sure, it's live and you're going up and you're hitting another team, that's not your own. It's not the same as preseason, though, man. Preseason is where you kind of get that down and you get that rhythm and you get in sync. That's game time stuff. You know what I mean? You can work out those kinks, and especially the fact that we're implementing a new offensive scheme. I mean, it may not be stripped down to the bare bones, but I still want to see Dak Prescott play in the preseason. He's coming back from an injury, didn't play most of last year. I want Dak Prescott sharp as a damn razor come game 1, week 1 versus Philly. I want George Pickens on the same page as Dak Prescott. I want him knowing that playbook. I want that. I want our running backs, whether it be, which I think that won't be a thing. I think Blue's going to get plenty of playing time. I think we'll see Javonte Williams get plenty of playing time. I think the running backs will get that. But I want to see our starters out there. I really do. I don't think there's any starter on the roster that should sit in the preseason. Other than if it's Micah Parsons because he hasn't got signed to a new deal yet, which hopefully by the time preseason starts, he'll have been signed to a new deal. But I think preseason is important. I really do.
I mean, and we're going to get in, and you brought up, get maybe some thoughts on it with you guys. I mean, is the whole Parsons thing, is it concern you? I mean, do you think, I think we all think the deal's going to get done, but does this frustrate you? It's like, guys, I mean, why are we waiting? Like, what is this is a Jerry Jones move. It's a Cowboys move. And why? Like, this is just what gets talked about. I mean, why wouldn't he's going to get paid? He's going to be the highest paid. It is what it is. I mean, it's all going to happen. But I mean, if we go into training camp and he's not there, it's going to be really frustrating for Cowboys fans. I know it will be for me.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I mean, I am a little concerned. I'm a little, obviously I'm a little upset to see the fact that the Cowboys continue to do business like this, and that you are seeing players that are not even at the end of their rookie deals or at the end of their deals. Sauce Gardner got re-signed a year ahead of when the Jets really had to do it. And they did that with two of their players. They did it with Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson both.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, when you know you have an elite player, when you've got a dog, why wait? I think it's smart. I think what the Jets did was smart, because that price was only going to continue to go up. Why not go ahead and give them market value a year before their price goes up? Because I mean, you're talking about saving yourself anywhere from, $10 to $15 million a year. I mean, that's a huge jump when you're talking about, what you're paying these guys. I think that a lot of these other teams, I just think that they do things smarter. And I feel like that the Cowboys are one of the only teams that continue to operate in an outdated fashion. And why, I don't know. The rest of the league just kind of tends to operate a little bit differently. Yeah, you see some teams that, they do have you look at Pittsburgh, they're having a little bit of contract issues with TJ Watt. So not every single team gets it and is proactive, but I feel like most of the teams are. I really do. I feel like most of the teams are proactive. I feel like the Cowboys are the ones that always drag their feet. And in this kind of situation, I just feel like it's bad business. I feel like, you got to pay Micah Parsons and make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. Just do it already. Just put pen to paper, get something done. It cannot be that hard to sit down with his agent and say, hey, look, what are you guys looking for? You know what? That's the highest. That makes him the highest paid player. The years work for us. The signing bonus works for us. Let's put pen to paper. We want Micah Parsons to be a Dallas Cowboys. So what are we messing around here for?
And another thing, I saw this getting tweeted around, and I saw it getting on some other post, and either on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it was, or on TV. They said, "Oh, well, the Cowboys now made a mistake, and is going to be for a contract."
Oh, I think Mike froze.
All right, yeah, there you go. Sorry. Just because a guy gets signed to the highest contract like Sauce Gardner did, that doesn't mean Deron Bland gets that same money. Deron Bland isn't at the level of Sauce Gardner. I mean, if a team wants to pay him that, and it's not against Deron Bland. I think Deron Bland's a great cornerback. He's important for us, but just because Gardner got in a year doesn't mean that have to give and deserves 31.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing is that, look, is Deron Bland going to get paid? Is he going to get a good contract? Yeah, he will. But like you said, Sauce Gardner's on a different level than Deron Bland. Cornerbacks and linebackers and defensive ends, those they're not like quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, if you've got a franchise quarterback, like each time a quarterback is up for signing, it's like he's got to leapfrog the next guy and so on and so on. But that's only in the quarterback market. That's not in the market of defensive ends. That's not, because the thing is, Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in the league. Now, arguably, obviously, I'd say there's a couple others in the league that I'd say you could argue are close there with Micah Parsons' level. But in terms of who's up for a contract right now, it's Micah Parsons, and you could argue that he's either one or two. But he's an outstanding, phenomenal defensive player. We all know that. So he's going to get paid. It's a different story when you talk about a guy like Deron Bland. He's a solid cornerback. He's going to get paid, probably get paid, I would imagine, somewhere in the range of top 10, probably top 10 cornerback money. I could see somewhere around that, range for Deron Bland.
20,
Yeah. So, and I mean, I could see that happening, but he's definitely not going to get Sauce Gardner money. And, the one thing that always bugs me and will continue to bug me I've never been somebody that's going to pocket watch and is going to say, you know what, this guy's not worth that. Listen, if Jerry Jones writes the check for it, then he's worth it. I mean, I really don't care, man, because at this point, it's not my money. It's not my money, man. And and I keep saying this about, people keep talking about Texas Tech. That Texas Tech just buying their roster. Texas Tech, I don't give a damn. It ain't my money. I don't care if
now
that money.
These two college teams been doing this for 100 years. Now it's a problem.
Yeah, now exactly. That's what I say. And the phrase that keeps rolling around with Texas Tech and a lot of the fans is, listen, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. So that's what I will keep on saying. But I don't care about the money. I really don't. I don't give a damn how much money these guys spend, because ain't a dime of it mine. None of it is mine. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not spending this money. What do I give a damn? I mean, if these are elite players, good players, pay them. You're going to have to pay them. That is the nature of the business. So sit there bitching and complaining and pounding your keyboard about how much this guy's getting paid. Dallas Cowboys, we got fleeced for this guy. Like, you're just wasting your time and your energy, man. Sit back, root for these guys, and hope that whoever we sign, it can contribute on this team in terms of the Cowboys winning another goddamn Super Bowl. And just shut the hell up about the money, because it's not your money, and it never will be.
And it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And I just tell you how big business is. The Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, we're talking the shitty Tampa Bay Rays that are playing at a minor league stadium right now that can't sell that out. Can't sell it out. They just sold their team for $1.7 billion. How the hell is that franchise worth that? That just shows you how much money is out there. So don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about the money.
And that's the thing too, is that you're going to have, I mean, I would imagine that you would probably have, if the Dallas Cowboys sold, I mean, north of $100 billion. I feel like it'd be over $100 billion. Honestly, I feel like that Cowboys franchise would sell for a ton. Maybe I'm off on that, but I feel like they'd sell for a lot.
Valuable, but it's all, they say it's X amount of billion. And I lost count. You guys can say it in the chat if you guys remember the last Forbes thing on how many billion they were going for. 10 billion right now is their value.
10 billion. That's their value, but they always sell above that. You know what I'm saying? If the Rays sell for over $1 billion, almost $2 billion, you got to think that the Cowboys are worth, at least 15 to 20 times of that, or some 20 times of that. So yeah, the Cowboys are worth 10 billion, their future worth and what you would make off them and stand a profit. I'd have to say that maybe not 100 billion, but I'd have to say the Cowboys would probably sell for probably between 20 and 30 billion at least. I would have to think.
No member of the Jones family is going to be doing what you and I and everyone in here does on Monday through Friday. So that's the bottom line. They ain't going to work. They ain't getting up at crack of dawn and working till 5 or 6 or whatever it is, trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. But
go ahead. I was just going to say, I don't know if you could still see it. I feel like it's gotten a little bit wider. It's getting a little bit darker in here. So that game back there, but it's that 2016 game against the Steelers. That's still one of the greatest Cowboys games that against the Steelers that I've seen in a long time. The game where Ezekiel Elliott rushes for the game-winning touchdown and ties it up, and then goes for the game winner. I'm just seeing the highlights back on that. That was good times. But
and it kind of segues into our last topic we were talking about for a few minutes. And, looking back at that season is Dak Prescott's legacy in Dallas. I mean, you and I kind of talked to, text each other back, today. It's like, it's like 10 years. I mean, he's going double digits, career wise. He's creeping up with, and I'm not a stats guy, but it is what it is. He's creeping up and probably is going to hold every passing record for the Cowboys as a quarterback. His legacy in Dallas, but on the flip side of it, you and I kind of talked, and I think I saw someone actually, Cam Newton talked about it today, is, if Dallas, if they don't get playoff success this year, I mean, could this be the end of Dak in Dallas? It could be the end of Dak, his career. I mean,
Yeah.
what could happen and where would his legacy fit. So, I mean, when you think of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, what's your initial thoughts today, and what do you think it could finish at?
Well, I mean, I think that the Cowboys and Dak have there's an interesting dynamic there because the Cowboys have, listen, they've come up short in the playoffs, and honestly, they've been doing that for a while. They've been doing that back since Tony Romo. So this is not a Dak Prescott thing; it's an organizational thing. Not anybody has been able to pick their finger and point their finger at one particular thing. When it comes to Dak Prescott in the playoffs, gets a whole lot of flack for a whole lot of things. And listen, I've been one to say it that he's got to be better in the playoffs. Really, what he's got to do is be that better leader, to take the reins and to not kind of get that frozen look in his face that he gets. He's got to command this team with leadership like he does in many of the games throughout the regular season. It's just something in the postseason. It's almost like the lights get too bright. But in that same sentence, I will say the rest of the team kind of follows in that whole. It follows into that whole thing. They all they follow the leader. So if you see your leader getting shook and he's shaking on the sidelines and you see him with a blank stare on his face, well, then you're like, oh, Jesus, man, we got the leader of the team out here looking like he don't know what the hell to do. And how are we going to do it? So I think that's where Dak Prescott really needs, because if you look at his playoff stats, ultimately he hasn't played that bad in the playoffs. You put his playoff numbers up against a lot of the other guys who are considered elite quarterbacks, and Dak Prescott stands right toe to toe with a lot of them. There's this thought that he throws all these picks in the playoffs, and that's just not this. It's really not true. He's thrown double the amount of touchdowns as he has picks. But that's what people are going to remember is the interceptions in the Green Bay game. They're going to remember the interceptions in the San Francisco game. I mean, obviously, I think that you can point to that one San Francisco game. I can never remember if it's 21 or 22, where I do put a lot of that loss kind of shoulders on Dak Prescott, but ultimately, I think Dak Prescott's legacy is going to be that he was a really good regular season quarterback, couldn't get it done in the postseason. And and when you talk about Dallas Cowboys quarterbacks, even though he'll probably end up holding all those passing records, is he going to be one of the Cowboys quarterbacks that people will remember down the line as being one of the all-time greats? Probably not. He's going to be a passing leader, but is he going to be remembered as being a better overall quarterback than Troy Aikman? No. Roger Staubach? No. I would argue probably not even better than Danny White, just because Danny White actually had some playoff success and actually got that team to, I think the NFC Championship game twice.
3 straight years.
3 straight years. So, I mean, Dak Prescott ultimately not having gone past the divisional round, that will end up being his legacy if he can't get that done. And if he doesn't get it done this year, and it's a similar of what we've seen in the past where it's kind of like it looks like Dak Prescott just folds up and just, can't rally this team and can't be the leader that this team needs, then they may start looking towards the future. You got a young quarterback that you traded for in Joe Milton, who's got a rocket for an arm. We got to see kind of what he looks like in preseason and how he develops around the rest of this team and what the staff thinks about him. But listen, you've got a new coaching staff. If this staff is high on Joe Milton and they go into this year and Dak Prescott has a so-so season, gets us to the playoffs, and then we get bounced and Dak Prescott has a bad performance in the playoffs, this coaching staff may go to Jerry and say, hey, we think we can rock with Joe Milton. And we can, there's a lot of people talking about the dead money that the Cowboys would eat, but they're forgetting that Joe Milton's on a rookie contract for the next couple of years. So you could go ahead and eat that. You could eat that dead money. You could cut Dak Prescott actually post June 1st, save a little bit of money. I mean, you're still going to eat dead money. But then for the next couple of years, you've got a quarterback on a rookie contract where you can go out and you can really start to invest like a lot of these teams have done and try to build a roster similar to kind of what the Eagles did, build that roster through free agency versus the draft like we've been trying to do, because you're going to have a lot of extra money. Yeah, you'll be playing a lot of your key position players in CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and some of the other guys, but when you got a rookie quarterback, that saves you a ton of money. And the Cowboys will be in a position to make that decision, over the next couple of years, should they decide to move on from Dak Prescott. So ultimately his legacy is going to be made, and it makes or breaks in the playoffs, period. Because that's really where quarterbacks' legacies are made, and that's in the playoffs. Fair or not, that is what it is. He's going to have to take the bull by the horns and kick some ass this year when it comes playoff time.
Yeah, I think the thing with Prescott, health. I mean, if he ends up with another, injured, and he's had 2 injuries and they've been kind of freakish injuries. It's not like he has back issues or anything that's chronic, or he had a bunch of ACLs. I mean, he had a broken bone, which that's fine. And obviously the hamstring, off the bone, that's not a good thing. So he had surgery around that. But it's not like when Romo was here, Romo had the back injuries and it just was going to be inevitable. One hit, and it was going to happen. So I'm not really concerned on the injury front, but I think if he were, say he did another freakish injury, I think that could be trouble with Milton stepping in and with this team. And if he has any sign of success, you could end up seeing a Romo. You could see Dak Prescott living the Romo life, that year. But ultimately, for me, his story's not written yet. It's not complete. And it's all going to come down to playoffs. At the end, that is it. If he goes on to win a Super Bowl, and he has 1 Super Bowl, he is going to be in the conversation of a greatest Cowboys quarterback. Now, look, I'm an Aikman guy. He's got 3. It's going to be pass him up. Just saying, if you look at his career and what he's had and what he's done, it's going to be hard not to put him at the table. It's going to be hard, to argue if someone puts him at the head of the table because of what he did. That's how quickly Super Bowls can change. And you think about it, and people are like, oh, well, you get a Super Bowl and he needs 2 or 3. I mean, look at Drew Brees. Drew Brees has 1. Aaron Rodgers, 1. It's hard. It's
very hard.
It's hard to win 1, not alone 3. I
mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and I mean, when you look at, there are some people, I think that a lot of people, I think once he won his last Super Bowl, I think that kind of cemented the legacy of Tom Brady being the best quarterback to play the game. But before that, I mean, there's a lot of people, and some still even say that Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And as far as, pure passers, they say he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls. You know what I mean?
And have a lot of playoff success.
And he did not have a lot of playoff success. I mean, for the first, I think it took him 7 years before he won his first playoff game, I believe. I think it was 7 years. I mean, he had some seasons. He had some seasons under his belt. So look, it is hard. It's hard. You got to have that team around you. You got to have that GM that's willing to build that success to build that team around you for ultimate success, and you got to get it right. And, and the Cowboys front office just haven't been able to figure that out. And whether it's, the combination of the coaching staff, the players, free agency, whatever you want to say, they just haven't figured it out, man. And hopefully they eventually get it done. I hope that for Dak Prescott, because I think he's a great guy. It'd be a damn shame to have another very talented quarterback come through here without winning the Super Bowl. But it is what it is, man. That's the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, you just put him on. I mean, you would say him and Romo would be mirror images of each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. But thankfully, I mean, the good thing for Dak Prescott, unlike Tony Romo, is Dak Prescott his story's not done. He's still got a chance.
No, he's still got a chance.
It just, like I said, it takes a special run, and it takes a lot of things going your way. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. And like I said, with the Cowboys, we talked about, we broke it down. Their team have to get off and be telltale sign is if this team jumps out 6-2, 7-1, 8-2. Things are going to be looking pretty good because that gone right for, the Eagles, and then it's Chiefs. Then I think it's the Lions. Then I think you got the Vikings. And then I think you got the Commanders. I mean, you got like a 5-game stretch there of some tough teams, all playoff teams that you're going to end up playing in a row. So the Cowboys have got to start fast. So you talked about it earlier with Prescott. That's why I think preseason, I think reps, I think getting that stuff going sooner than later is going to be the most important thing for this offense and for Dak Prescott to get hot early.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I know. I mean, that's why when we did the schedule prediction, I had them getting like to 8-2 before they started going. They go on a little lose streak because they got some tough games late in the season. But this team needs. That's why I say I want them playing in preseason, because they got to capitalize on the early part of the schedule and win those winnable games, because the latter part of the schedule, things get hard for the Cowboys, and they're not playing no slouches. And if if you're 500 going into that, you may have some problems. If you got a 500 record going into that stretch, you may end up, this train could come off the tracks, and that may spell the end of an era for Dak Prescott. They went out and got him a big weapon. They went out and got him a guy like George Pickens. I won't say that there's no excuses for Dak Prescott, because listen, this defense still has to come out and perform. If this defense comes out and they're atrocious this year, can't put that on Dak Prescott, because listen, he's not the one who went out and decided not to get a defensive tackle. He didn't. He's not the one that's not investing into an elite running back. And just being like, hey, it doesn't really matter who the running back is, we'll do it. But looking at from a playmaker perspective, having CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, that is a dynamic duo. And they're going to expect some pretty big results from Dak this year. He's going to have to go out and do it on the field, though.
Yeah, and he's proven it. I mean, he's he's 2 years removed from second in the MVP, and one of the best seasons. I mean, probably the best season in Cowboys quarterback history. The numbers he put up that year, so it's definitely going to do it. But I think what you said, the intangibles, the leadership, the accountability of his teammates and holding them accountable, that's really what you need to see from him. If he can do that, the talent's there, the skill set's there, he's going to be fine. So I agree with you. I'm expecting to see good things from Dallas Cowboys, and of course Dak Prescott. We think they're going to run the East. We're 50-50 chance of that, but we 50-50. Think they're going to run the East. And the beauty of it is you're going to find out real quick, and we're going to find out real fast, because the Cowboys will be opening up in Philly on the road. So that is going to be a quick test for them. So we're going to know really fast. But more importantly is football is getting closer and closer.
That's right.
So we want to welcome everyone who watched the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I apologize, having a little technical issues. If you guys are seeing it, hopefully it's not as bad as what I'm thinking it is, but having some issues with the internet. So it's on my side this time. So hopefully it's not as bad as I think, but definitely appreciate everyone tuning in. I will be, just a little public service announcement, I will be a guest. J-Tuck is doing like this, just 14 days. It's like this streak of just having people in and talking football and the Cowboys. So he's invited me to go on there tomorrow night. So I'll be on there tomorrow night. My internet will be working. I'll be on there tomorrow night, I think 8 o'clock Central. So make sure you guys check that out. It'll be fun getting back with J-Tuck. A lot of people, I always remind everyone, J-Tuck's at like 20,000 subscribers. I mean, it's unbelievable. I was on his show when he had 214. And I always tell him that, because I say, man, I got you started, man. I helped you jump that success, to jumpstart that. And I remember did a hype video impromptu on his show. It was the Cardinals. Never forget it. Cardinals. And we ended up getting our ass whooped by Kyler Murray, so it didn't work out. But it was a lot of fun. I love Jake. Looking forward to be back.
Yeah, he's good stuff, man. If you guys aren't already following him, which I'm sure most of you probably are, get on there and watch that. That'll be a good show.
Yeah, we'll definitely enjoy it. And George Teague, we kind of had him scheduled tonight. He had some obviously, if you guys know, he's an athletic director for high school, and he's doing great things there, and he got a lot of stuff going on. So he said, give him a rain check. We're going to make it happen. So I appreciate everyone hanging with us. Apologize for any of the difficulties if there's any technical glitches. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow night. If I don't, have a good weekend. Enjoy it. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Kelly, be good. See you.
Peace.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.
Yeah, what's that?